Oh, I'm sorry. I went to unmute you.
No, you're good.
Okay, perfect. All right, you guys, I started the recording already. I am so excited to have Ashley here. If you guys haven't ever met her or heard from her on a call or heard her speak before, then you're in for a big treat. I actually am in a mastermind group with Ashley every Thursday, and you guys, she is amazing. I think, Ashley, when I met you in March, or we started talking in this mastermind group, I think you were like a 1-star diamond, and now she's 5-star qual. Will you be a diamond? I mean, will you be qualified for 5-star on Thursday? Is that right?
I have 3 more weeks.
Oh, 3 more weeks. Okay. Okay. Well, close enough.
Yes.
But you guys, she's amazing. And whenever you talk to her, she's like so inspirational. And I swear when I hear her numbers she like blows me away. Seriously. Like when we're turning in our numbers, like recruiting or Success Club. And she's like, yeah, I recruited 20 last month. I was like, okay. But anyways, I can't wait for you guys to get to hear from her. Every time I hear her speak or just get to talk to her on Thursday, I'm just like, holy cow, she's amazing. So I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I just want you guys to get to hear from Ashley, and write down any questions you have in the message thread, and I can ask her at the end. All right, Ashley, take it away, girlfriend.
Okay. So let's hope my girls are super good. My husband's still at work and my baby's in the room next to me. I can hear her awake, so hopefully she's super good, and my 4-year-old's in the next room. Okay, so sometimes hearing all the numbers about like she's 5-star qualifying and recruited 20 coach, like sometimes even I'm like, wait, who are they even talking about? Because I want to talk about like where I was a year ago before we go into everything that changed, so that you can see like I was not this person. Okay, a year ago I had 2 builders underneath me. I hit 2-star with 2 builders. I had my diamond on one leg, who is my sister, and she had a bigger team than me and went diamond, and yay, happy joy, good for her. And, super competitive, weird thing going on because she's my sister. And then had my husband as my other diamond. And those were literally my only 2 emeralds anywhere sponsored by me. 2 emeralds. They also both happened to be diamonds. And then under my husband, obviously, in order for him to be diamond, he needed to have 2 emeralds. He had my mom that I built with my dad and my stepdad. And then I had one other girl who had signed her mom and her husband and held emerald long enough for us to hit 2-star, and then she canceled. That's it. That was my whole downline of builders. And I was barely hitting Success Club. I did hit Success Club every month because Success Club was something that was very important to me. I am very motivated. Is my internet doing weird things? Hopefully not. Everybody will all of a sudden speed up. So if my internet starts being weird, tell me and I'll try switching my hotspot on my phone because, my internet's great. I always wanted to hit Success Club because I was like super motivated by like being a legend and being an all-star and all that stuff. But there was a lot of months that I would hit Success Club on the last day of the month because I would call a family member and have them buy a challenge pack, and I would Venmo them to pay for it. And it's not that I was genuinely helping 3 new people every month. Like, yes, I was consistently hitting Success Club, but it was like by the skin of my teeth. And sometimes I was having to buy those challenge packs. And no, I've never dropped from, like, once I hit diamond, I never dropped from there. But there were times that I was like signing up my sister to make sure that I had enough, my 4 and 4, like it was a very sketchy, empty, everything was empty. And to go from that to, where my team is now, that we've hit Premier this year, as soon as we finish 5-star qualification, we will be an elite team. My highest Success Club month I've had, I hit Success Club 52, like just to see that this is not the person I was a year ago. And so when I talk about all this stuff, I don't want you to hear like someone who's always naturally been so good at the business, because that is not me. So when we talk about like the 5 things that kind of changed in my business, and they're like totally implementable things, because I want this to be like, my story is all good and great. It doesn't help anybody. Like you guys you don't want to just sit here and listen to my story. You want stuff you can like implement, and yeah. Okay. So, we're just going to start with number 1. I'm going to make it kind of long. Okay. Number 1, I found my why. I was, at the time that my why kind of flipped, I was 9 months pregnant and like, a week. Yeah, I think I was like 8 days away from getting induced with my little girl, and she was my second, and my husband was working out of town, and life totally was like so hard. I hated this job he had. He was doing construction. He was traveling all the time, missed him like crazy. But we got to suck it up, because like he needed a job, and I just wasn't performing with Beachbody. I was trying, but my team wouldn't hit Success Club, and nobody would sell anything. So my volume sucked, and I can't make people buy challenge packs. And so I just could not seem to get my income to come up. And so my husband had to take this job traveling and doing construction in another state. And it was friggin' terrible, and we friggin' hated it. And 8 days before I had my baby, I thought I was going into labor, and I called my husband, and I was like, I think I'm going into labor. I need you to come home. And he was like, I can't come home. Sorry. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can't stop going into labor, so I need you to get your butt in the car and come home. And he ended up, anyway, so I had like a full-blown panic that he was going to miss the birth of our baby. And that moment like flipped something for me, because, and I get goosebumps. It's literally every time I talk about this, I get goosebumps, because that moment I decided I was done. Up until then, yes, I hated him traveling. Yes, I hated being a single mom because he was gone, but I didn't hate it enough to do something about it. And that moment made me decide I was sick and tired of this, and I am going to do something about this. So he ends up coming home. I wasn't really in labor. Everything was fine. And the next day, I had a retreat that my upline was hosting for her whole downline, for anybody who had rank advance past their current rank. And my upline's Micah Folsom. So Micah was hosting this big retreat that was just a couple cities away, and technically the retreat house was closer to the hospital than my house is, which is why my husband let me go, because I was like a week away from having my baby when the retreat started. And I went to that retreat knowing I need something to change. And you talk about like weekends that you changed your life. The weekend I got married, the weekend I had my oldest, the weekend I had my youngest, and the weekend I went to that retreat. Like my life freaking changed at that retreat. So, and at that retreat, it really solidified for me that I needed to find my why. And I found it. I was going to make my husband, I was going to get my husband out of that job. And I was going because I was done with this life. I was done with him being gone. I was done. So number 1, I found my why. And it had to be a big why. They talk, we always hear you have to have your why, and your why should make you cry and whatever. I had a why. Like I wanted my husband to quit his job, but I heard something at Summit this year that I feel like describes it so much better. Find your why, you need to find your fight. Like, what the heck are you fighting for? Because it's not fun to send invites when people are saying no to you, or to say no to whatever you're wanting to eat because you're trying to be a product of the product, or to get up at 6 a.m. and push play on your workout when you really don't want to, or your kids had a bad night, or you're sore as heck, or whatever. Sometimes this is not fun, and it is not easy. And that doesn't mean it's not worth it. And that doesn't mean you don't feel better afterwards, but you have to know what you're fighting for. It's not just like this nice fluffy why. Like, what are you fighting for? 1, Number 2, and I feel like this ties like right along into it, because I think this is the thing that trips people up, because people have a why. Like I said, I had a why. Number 2, I found my limiting beliefs. Okay. Limiting beliefs are like one of my favorite things in the universe to study now, because they explain everything. So, if you have never, okay, Josh Coates, he's not Josh Coates, he's just Josh. Josh was at this retreat. Micah flew him out for this retreat, and so it really helped. I had him like face to face with me, and he goes through this retreat amazing experience where you talk about what you're pushing for, what your goals are, and what is it that's stopping you. And at that retreat, I had him like face to face with me, and I was able to like figure out some limiting beliefs that I did not know I had. And finding those limiting beliefs are what helped me not get tripped up once I got home from that retreat. Because I think everybody's been to a retreat or a super Saturday or a summit where you're super energized and you're going to change the world and you're going to be the next 27,000 star and you're going to be on the elite stage next year and why not me and whatever. And you get home and you get tripped up and all the same problems come back and all the same things that were tripping you up before trip you up again. That's because there's a limiting belief right there. When you're hitting the same wall over and over and over again, it's because there's a limiting belief. So I'm going to talk about some of my limiting beliefs specifically, because I think sometimes it helps. Not that I think they're identical for everybody, but I think sometimes it helps to hear what limiting beliefs are and how they can totally trip you up in your business. So I think my absolute biggest limiting belief I had in this business was that you cannot be good at this business in terms of like seeing success. You can't be successful and still be a good mom and have a healthy marriage. Like it's just not possible, because I would watch all these top coaches and see them post their videos in YouTube about how they structure their day. And they would talk about how they had a nanny, or they would talk about how their kids were older and they were at school, or they would talk about all these things that I was like, okay, but that doesn't apply to me. So how do you build this business when I signed up to be a coach, my oldest was 18 months old. Like, how do you do this if you have a little kid and if you don't want to hire in somebody and if you don't want to like, and they talk, like people would talk about you at night, you go and you work and you stay up till midnight and whatever. Like, what if I don't want that? What if I want to like have that time with my husband and I want to like unplug and work on my marriage? What if I don't want that? How do I build this business and not give up my marriage and not give up my kids? It's not possible. That's what I'm struggling with. And I went to this retreat and I like remember like point blank saying that out loud. Like, I literally cannot find a successful coach in this business who doesn't have a nanny. And it's a personal thing, but it's very important to me that I not have one. And Josh and Micah kind of talked to me about it. Micah kind of took over for a second, that she was like, okay, but it's not like I when I went top 10, I didn't have a nanny for my kids. When I went 15 star, I didn't have a nanny. And the nanny is more of a recent thing, but I did see success without it, and kind of talked about that. And that still wasn't helping. And I still was like, okay, but nobody's telling me how I'm going to be successful at this. They're telling me it's possible, but they're not telling me how. And as I started talking to Josh, and it was somebody else was talking to Josh that made me realize everything. When I was growing up as a kid, my mom was a freaking rock star at multi-level marketing. She got a free vehicle with Discovery Toys and Pampered Chef and Mary Kay and Tupperware. Don't ask me why she switched companies so friggin' often, because I don't know. But she killed it at multi-level marketing. And she was asked to speak at one of them. I think it was Mary Kay, their version of Summit in Canada. They flew her out. Like, I just remember she was so good at it. And she made really good money and whatever. But at night, back then, because, social media wasn't a thing 20 years ago, she would have to go to parties at night. And my dad is mentally just not stable. And so he would she would, you know, he'd get home from whatever he was doing. He worked, but he was making like minimum wage. There's a reason my mom had to kill it with multi-level marketing, because we wouldn't pay our bills otherwise. So he would get home from his minimum wage job and she would say, "Okay, I have a party at so-and-so's house tonight. I will be back at X time. Here's the number of the house if you need me," whatever. And my dad would like come unglued and yelling and screaming and whatever. And I just very specifically remember multiple times him saying, "If you go, I can't guarantee the kids will still be alive when you get home." And I was the oldest. I had a couple little sisters. And I just remember thinking, like, if she leaves, my dad's going to kill me. Or he might kill my little sister who has reflux and is crying and is kind of hard. And my mom would go to these parties anyway. And, you know, she kept being successful in her company and whatever. And like, we kept making enough money to pay our bills. But fast forward a few years, my parents ended up getting divorced. And I somehow had attached the limiting belief in my head that if you are successful in multi-level marketing, you will get divorced. And it will make it so that your husband has a terrible relationship with your children, and your children will resent you, and your life will cease to exist the way you whatever, because of the success you have in multi-level marketing. Okay, now let's talk that through. That doesn't even make sense. Multi-level marketing is not the reason my parents got divorced. He was obviously a little psycho. And it has nothing to do with multi-level marketing. But my brain had found something to blame it on, and that was tripping me up in my business. That was the reason I wasn't consistent with my power hours. That was the reason I wasn't consistent with trying to work when she's napping. Because if you're intentional with this, power hours should not take you that long. And my kid took awesome naps. And so there's no reason that I couldn't be successful. The reason I wasn't successful is because I decided I wasn't successful because I had a limiting belief that you can't be good at this while you're a mom. Or if you're good at this, it's going to lead to a divorce. So Josh had to help me like dig out the limiting belief. It was a very, very deep rooted one that had been there for over 20 years that I had no idea was there. Okay. That was one of my limiting beliefs. I had a limiting belief that I'm not a good leader. I felt like a terrible leader, and I would sign people up who want to build the business, and then they would quit. And I would have someone hit Success Club like once, and then they would quit. Or I'd have someone go Emerald because they signed their husband and their mom, and they're out $300 for buying 2 challenge packs, and they'd only hit SC4. They wouldn't even hit Success Club, and then they'd quit. Yes, baby. Yep. And I just, yeah, that's fine. Here you go. Go sit on the bed, please. Okay. And so as I would sign people, I would tell myself subconsciously, I didn't realize I was doing this, but looking back, I totally see that I was doing this. I would say, okay, let's see how long they last. They're probably going to go, or I would sign an Emerald. And as I'm doing their shout out, I'm thinking, how long are they going to last before they quit? Or great, they hit SE2. They're not going to hit Success Club, because none of my coaches hit Success Club, because maybe I just suck as a leader. And then one of my girls did message me and did tell me I'm a bad leader and told me it's my fault she wasn't seeing success. And I remember saying out loud as I messaged my upline, and I was like, I can't believe she said this to me. And I remember defending myself. No, I am a good leader. And I hit Success Club, and I show up in my threads, and I am a good leader. I'm not abandoning, I don't abandon my team. It's not my fault she doesn't do a power hour. But it totally cemented itself in my head that I'm a bad leader. And for the next 6 months, every single person I would sign would quit within a couple of weeks. And I would sign a builder every 3 months. It was my everything just plummeted after this girl told me I was a bad leader. And it had firmly cemented itself in my head that I was a bad leader. And Josh totally helped rip that one out of me too. That our job as coaches is to equip and empower, and that is it. It is up to them what they want to do with this. It's my job to message you back if you have a question within a reasonable amount of time. I don't have to be available at the drop of a hat, but I'm going to message you back if you have a question. And it's my job to make sure you have access to trainings, that you have access to a positive community, that I love on you and I lead you and I recognize you when you do awesome things. And like, that's the extent of it. That's my job. It's not my job to hold their hand. It's not my job to find their coaches. It's not my job to hit Success Club for them. It's not my job to recreate Micah's training. Like, none of that is my job. And if they decide they don't want this, if they decide their why is not big enough, if they decide, I had to totally remove ownership of that and let that go. And as I did that, so that was 2A, is limiting beliefs. 2B is you have to have positive affirmations that tie into these, because when you find a limiting belief, they are mean and they are nasty and they are ugly, and your inner mean girl gets like fully unleashed. And the only way to make her like sit down and shut up is affirmations. And I'm not talking like nice, super fluffy, I am blessed, I am grateful, I am a miracle. Like, those are no. And that was totally my condescending voice. Those are super great. They are not limiting belief, like action-packed affirmations. Affirmations are designed to be like the freaking dynamite to blow up a limiting belief. They have to be very focused, very intentional, very targeted at your limiting belief. So affirmations only work if you know what the limiting belief is. You have to find the limiting belief first. So some of mine are, I'm trying to think. I always forget them when I'm on the spot. So I have like leadership ones. I have ones about how, because I am confident and have positive energy, I attract other coaches who are confident and have positive energy. That was not true when I started saying it. I was not confident. I had zero reason to be confident. I couldn't even friggin' hit Success Club without calling a family member, and I was the friggin' emptiest 2-star diamond in the friggin' universe. But I said it every day because I wanted to be confident and I wanted to be someone who attracted confident, positive people. And the reason that affirmation worked is it's not just that I attract confident people. No. Because I am confident, I attract confident, people, okay? The because is huge because it told my brain, okay, we know you want to attract people like that. So you got to act like that. Let's make sure we act like that so we attract people like that. That's what makes affirmations work, is they retrain your brain. I have an affirmation that I got from Josh. All my good ones came from Josh. I have an affirmation about I am more intentional and focused than I have ever been before. Okay. My little girl, who like everything exploded in my business right when she was born, is 10 months old. And my oldest is 4. Neither of my kids go to school. I still don't have a nanny. I manage this with my kids alongside me, and that requires being insanely focused and insanely intentional. And it's not just that I tell myself I am focused, I am intentional. I am more focused and intentional than I have ever been before, which tells my brain, no, that's great that you were good yesterday, but today we're pushing for better than we were yesterday. So we're not going to settle for where we were yesterday. We're going to push further. We're going to be better today. And so I make very specific affirmations, and I totally can, I can share more of them if you guys want more, or when we're done at the end, if you guys have questions about my affirmations, I can go pull up my guide and like read some of them because I'm not remembering all of them. But I have affirmations about, my team. I have affirmations about how I attract leaders. I have affirmations about my weight loss. I have like a billion things from Alana in my affirmations guide about how this is the last time I will ever need to lose weight. And that, about how I'm a product of the product. And I have a lot about how I'm good with my time, because time management is something I really, really do tend to get distracted with. So things that I know I struggle with that are limiting beliefs, things that trip me up, I make a lot of affirmations about them to help train my brain that no, we're not going to just settle for the fact that you struggle with this. We're going to work on it. We're going to do something about it because we're not going to let this be what trips you up a year from now. A year from now, we're going to be at a new level with a new devil. We're looking for new problems. Grant Cardone. We are going to get out of our own way, okay? So that was a super long number 2. Limiting beliefs, affirmations. Okay, number 3, I put my blinders on. Okay, like I said, I'm in Micah Folsom's downline. She is, just in case you're new or you live under a super cute rock, she's amazing. She's been in the top 10. She has finished in the top 15 every year she's ever been a coach. She is a double superstar, which means she's a 15-star in her first and her second CBC, and she is amazing, okay? Then you have Jaylyn Barnes. She is my direct upline. She is a 10-star. 2-time elite, win elite her first year as a coach, and is well over a 6-figure earner, okay? Then, under Micah's umbrella, we have Ashley Smith. Anybody heard of Ashley Smith? She's been in the top 10 twice. She's pushing for her 3rd time in the top 10. And she has 4 coaches who hit elite. Plus, Micah has this amazing coach named Melissa Brewer, who is a 2-time elite. Like, they just keep going. That there's so many coaches in my team that are freaking amazing. And you see those leaderboards that Micah posts in our team page of Ashley Smith hitting SC 7 billion on the 2nd of the month, that it like gets in my head. That I'm like, holy crap, I'm not as good as Micah. I'm not as good as Ashley. I'm not as good as Jaylyn or Melissa or Cozy or insert any coach. Like, and so I just put my blinders on. And I stopped looking at what everybody else was doing and looking at how Megan Geese would post a shout out or a call to action about Lift 4 and get 400 comments. Or about how Jaylyn would go live talking about something and get 500 people on her video. Like, I just stopped looking. I love those people with my whole heart. Seriously, I do. Some of my best friends in the whole world are coaches, and I totally ignore everything they do on social media. I don't watch their stories. I don't look at their posts because my competitive brain can't handle it. I put on my blinders and just looked right in front of me. What is Ashley going to be better at today than I did yesterday? How am I going to beat my Success Club numbers from last week? How am I going to up my connections? How am I going to up my invites? How am I going to up my personal development? How am I going to do more push-ups? How am I going to get in my nutrition better today? How am I going to whatever, insert thing here. How am I going to be better than the Ashley from yesterday, last week, last month, last year? And sometimes it's not easy. I have to remind myself of this all the time because I am starting to struggle with it again. So I just have to keep reminding myself, put your blinders on, put your blinders on. You're just trying to be as good as you. It doesn't matter how great somebody else's team was. It doesn't matter that somebody else went into 27,000 star qualification today. You are doing awesome. And you were not in 5-star qualification a month ago, but you are right now. So we're going to look at that. You're doing awesome. Just look at that. And that I just put my blinders on and I look at me and how can I be better? How can I be a better leader? How can I be a better friend? How can I be better? Okay. And then I had this is along the lines of 3. I had kind of got it in my head that in order for me to hit 5-star, I needed to have 3 builders because I could like build my husband to diamond. And then once I hit 2-star, I'd get my second CBC. So I only need 3 other coaches and then I could hit 5-star. So when I had 3 builders, I was like, awesome, here's 5-star. Like, here we go. No, that's not how it works. People tell you they want this and they really don't. Or they think they do and they don't know, or life comes up or whatever. And I started noticing that it was like 1 in every 10 started doing something. So I got it in my head, okay, well, I want to hit 10-star because that is like a throw up goal. So I need 100 builders to make that happen. So I went in and I made a Google sheet called my 100 builders. It's not fancy. And it has like all these columns about their name and the day they signed up and their rank and what leg they're on and which CBC they're in. If they're in my first, my second, or if they're under my husband. And I just started adding names to the list with the goal of 100. I am not at 100 yet. I think we just hit the 50 mark, But like I said a year ago, I had 2. So I'm not going to look at the fact that Micah has 27 billion people under her. That's great. I'm not Micah. I'm not trying to keep up with Micah. I am, what just happened? I'm just going to look at me, and I'm just going to do my blinders, and I'm going to look at me. Okay, there you go. Okay, that was number 3, blinders, 100 builders. I'm going to go super fast because I've been going for a minute. Okay, number 4, I stepped up as a leader and as a team player. And I promise, I'm going to preface all of this, nobody in this call told me to say any of the things I'm about to say. Okay, these are things I genuinely did. Okay, the day I gave birth, I'm in the hospital. I am holding my little Emma. She was probably an hour and a half old. They wheeled me up from delivery to recovery. I was literally in the elevator. I remember the doors opening, and I looked down at my phone, and I had a text from Jaylyn. She's my upline, who also happens to be one of my best friends, saying that her husband had been attacked at work. He's a police officer. He is one of my husband's best friends. My husband is very involved in the police community. And we were in the process of looking into my husband moving into the police community. And like I said, Jaylyn is one of my best friends. So I'm like, oh my gosh, is he okay? So as we go throughout the rest of like the next hour or two, we start getting texts from news reports. It kind of came out on social media. So people were blowing me and my husband up, trying to figure out if we knew who this cop was and if he's alive and whatever. And she's trying to update us, but she has to keep everything hush hush. And she's so hysterical, she can't even function because she's 11 weeks pregnant. And her, like, so he ended up being okay, but it's an absolute miracle he lived. And she immediately went into like full-blown trauma, like shutdown mode. And a couple days later, she was trying to kind of keep it together for the team and whatever. A couple days later, Emma was 5 days old. I had been home from the hospital for a couple days. She texted me that morning and she said, my midwife just came over. They can't find the baby's heartbeat. I'm going to go into the hospital to do an ultrasound, but they can't find the baby's heartbeat. And I was like, oh my gosh, do you need me to come up? Like, what do you need me to do? She's like, you have a friggin' 5-day-old baby and your husband is in another state working. And I'm like, I know, but like, you can't go to the hospital by yourself. And Greg's still in the hospital. He can't come with you. Like, what do you want me to do? And she's like, my sister's coming down. Just pray for us, whatever. So she texted me like an hour later and the baby had died. So she like absolutely full-blown trauma mode that she was like, I literally cannot do this. Can I add you to the pod of my new coaches? And can you like help my new coaches? Cause I just need to unplug. I can't help them. I've been struggling the last 5 days. I know I'm not going to be able to now. I need you to help me. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. I felt awesome. Like I've got Energize and Shakeology and I had my healthiest pregnancy I've ever had. Like I'm great. I can totally help you. So she adds me to her thread as she is focusing on her family and dealing with everything. And she ended up having to go to the hospital and her life just really hit a sore spot for a second. I stepped up and started helping her team because I didn't have a team. Remember, I only had 2 builders. And one of them is my sister who happened to have a like 10 times larger team than I did. She had like 20 builders. So, I took over Jaylyn's team and I kind of started treating, I'm a 2-star now. They said my name on the national wake up call. I have a second CBC. I'm getting added to all these cool threads and whatever and getting all these shout outs from corporate. I'm a 2-star and everybody on the team is like, oh my gosh, Ashley's helping us. And I'm like, oh, if they only knew. I'm like the fakest 2-star in the whole friggin' world. But I started helping them and started pretending like it was my team. And I noticed 2 things. Number 1, they had the exact same questions as my new coaches. So it's not that I was an idiot or that I'm a bad leader, because Jaylyn was a friggin' awesome leader and her coaches had the same questions and they were plugged into the same training. So it wasn't me. So number 1, it helped me not take it personally because I could see that her coaches were struggling with the same thing my coaches struggled with. But more importantly, number 2, I started getting to like mentor them, that they would message me and say, hey, I'm about to sign up a new coach and I'm building for Diamond. This is what my legs look like. Where do I put them? And I got to like help strategize. And then I started noticing, I read 5 Second Rule and I freaking loved it. That book changed my life. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And I posted in the threads, hey, here's my PD quote for the day. Like, this book is changing my life. And all of a sudden, the whole team shifted and started reading 5-Second Rule. And then I read You Are a Badass at Making Money from Jen Sincero. I can like literally quote that book. I've read it so many times. That book is life. And all of a sudden, the whole team started swaying. And I started noticing the team started kind of doing what I was doing. So it made me like, okay, well, I got to pay attention to like what I'm doing. And then as I hit new, like all of a sudden I had my first $1,000 week. I never had that before. So I went live in the team page and explained to the team what I did about how I'd up my Success Club numbers, and having a second CBC really, really helped. So for the love of all that's holy, push for a second CBC, because like it helps your volume in all of the ways, and your income does go up when you get one. And like just started saying things that weren't new. Jaylin had said them, Micah had said them, but for some reason the team started hearing things because I was saying them. And like the team started rank advancing. Like people started going emerald, and we started having like diamonds, and I started recruiting, and like this big energy shift happened in our team. And there is a quote about how I've heard top coaches say it, and I am totally going to butcher it. I'm not even going to try. Something along the lines of, if you think that you shouldn't hold your rank, or you shouldn't hit Success Club, or you shouldn't go diamond because it's only helping your upline. Yeah, it's great if I go diamond, but they get recognized for 10-star. They're the one that walks across the stage. They're the one with their name on the National Wake Up Call. They're the ones with their name on the banner. They're the one that get the shiny medal at Summit. Yeah, me hitting Success Club gets them elite, but no one walks around saying, Ashley McClellan helped us hit elite. Like all they see is Jaylin Barnes hit elite. And like, I don't even friggin' care. You only want me to hit this stuff because you want to go elite. You want to rank advance. You want your income to come up. Of course you want me to hit Success Club. You want your income to come up. When you treat your business that way, you are going to attract people who also look at their business that way. When you look at your business as, how can I contribute to the team? How can I help my upline rank advance? How can I help my sister coaches, people that I don't benefit from, that aren't in my downline, that aren't my people for elite, that they don't help my stars, that whatever. How can I help them grow? How can I help my team grow? You will attract people who will treat your team the same way, and that will help coaches in the team that they don't get paid to help. It's all about your energy. What you put out there is what attracts you will attract similar people. So if you don't want to go diamond because it doesn't really matter and it only helps my upline, guess what? You're never going to attract someone who goes emerald, because it's only going to help your upline. You have to have the attitude that you want to better your team. And Jaylin went 10-star after everything that happened with her husband and her baby and everything being so crazy stressful. When she went 10-star, I was like literally bawling my eyes out as she was walking across the stage at Summit, because I felt like I was a part of that. And I helped our team do that. And technically, I'm not even one of Jaylin's 10 because I'm under her husband. I literally had 0 part of that. I'm not even like a 10th of that. I'm an emerald that helped Greg be diamond. Like, I don't matter. But I felt like I was a part of that. And I felt like what I did mattered, and that I contributed to the team. And that when we celebrated that we as a team hit 10-star, I believed that. And I felt like it was a team effort, because it is a team effort. You cannot hit these crazy goals by yourself. And when you dig in and you decide to be a team player, you attract people who also want to be team players. And I don't think it's a coincidence that my team already has elite locked in points-wise. And as soon as we hit 5-star, we've officially hit elite after we've never even come remotely close ever. It's because they're very related. They're very related. Dig in to your team and love on your team, your upline's team, your upline's team. Team Beachbody, anybody in Beachbody, help them, love on them, encourage them, share what's working for you, share your scripts, let people use your transformation pictures, offer people tips, like whatever, share what you're doing, because that go-giver attitude helps you attract more people who will help your team do the same. Okay, last thing, and then I'm going to be done because I've been talking for so long. Number 5, I got so intentional. I used to be that person who didn't think you needed to do a power hour every day. Guess what? You do. You do need to do a power hour every single day, 5 days a week. And I sucked at it, so I hired Josh Coates. And in his little push group, if you don't hit 85% of your activities, you don't get the percentage of your money back. And apparently I'm very motivated by getting like $30, $40, $50 back, because all of a sudden I started really showing up because I wanted to get that $30 back. Because, you know, the fact that showing up makes you like triple your Success Club numbers and you start making way more money, that's not good enough. Let's just show up so we can get $30 back, whatever. So I started really showing up. There's my plug for Josh, like 10th plug. Josh is life, okay? I really upped my personal development. I made a goal to do 75 personal development books this year. And I'm on track to reading that many personal development books. Where a year ago, I made a goal to see how fast I could watch a season of Grey's Anatomy. Like, not kidding. Or to see how many times I could watch Friends before my husband came home from his next work trip. And no duh, my business wasn't growing. And I'm not saying I never watch Netflix, but it's like time with a husband. We watch our Netflix show together. Right now, we are like almost done with The Office for, I don't even know how many times we watched The Office. And we just finished Friends. Like we have shows we watch together because that's a way that we like to unwind together. But during the day, I have PD going while I'm getting ready, while in the morning, when I'm showering, when I'm doing dishes, when I'm doing laundry, when I'm cooking, when I'm driving, when I'm doing my power hour, when I'm whatever. I have positive things going. I didn't really talk about this. When I was in my early 20s, I was on modified suicide watch. I have like very, very heavy depression tendencies. And so my voices in my head are not naturally positive. And PD makes it so I don't have time to listen to the voices in my head because I'm listening to somebody else. So I literally look for ways to fit in 3 to 4 hours of personal development every single day so that I have a lot of positive voices in my head. And affirmations help a lot with that too, because again, those are punching my limiting beliefs, but listening to personal development that's very targeted for my limiting beliefs. If I'm struggling with my inner mean girl, that's happening right now. My inner mean girl thinks that I shouldn't really be in 5-star, and yeah, so inner mean girl is coming out hardcore. Would it be beneficial for me to read Jab, 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 Right Hook from Gary Vee right now? No, it sure wouldn't. That doesn't mean it's not a good book, but that means it's not personal development. It's not targeted towards what I'm struggling with. So personal development is personal. It doesn't matter that somebody else thinks that 5-Second Rule is the greatest book of all time. If it's not hitting it for you, you don't read it. So I stopped reading PD that everybody told me to read and started reading books that actually hit what I needed, because that's how you listen to like 4 hours a day, because you can't turn it off because it's hitting what you need. If you're reading a book that you're like, oh my gosh, am I done reading this book for my 10 minutes today yet? That book is not hitting the feels, and you need to put it on the bookshelf and wait till it hits you in the feels. So, and that, like, you come around. The book Legacy Journey from Dave Ramsey is one of my favorite books of all time. I tried to read that 2 years ago and I couldn't make it past the intro. And now I read it in like a day because it just hit all the feels for me, but I wasn't in the right place for it. So and not only do you have to read PD that like hits the feels for you, you got to implement it. It's great to read Miracle Morning. If you don't actually get up and do your pavers and do your prayers or silence and affirmations and visualization and exercise and reading and scribing, if you just read the book and mark it off and report that you read a personal development book, but you don't actually do any of it, it doesn't benefit you, and that's a waste of your time. And I don't think anybody in here is sitting here thinking, you know what, I have a lot of extra time in my life. I wonder what I could do with it. Everybody is short on time. Make the best use of your time. If you're taking the time to listen to a personal development book, implement it, because it will make you grow. And as you grow, personal development has become one of my pillars and one of my things I talk about. And one of the things people know they can message me about is like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you recommend a book? Because I talk about personal development all the time because it's like my favorite thing ever, because it ties into limiting beliefs so much, because I read books that target my limiting beliefs. So really, when I got intentional, I really cut out Netflix and I really upped my personal development. And then I delegated. There's stuff that I don't really want to do. I would rather, when I'm with my kids, like I've talked about, I don't really want to delegate who watches my kids. I don't want a nanny, but I'm totally cool to delegate who scrubs my toilets. I don't want to do that. So I hired a house cleaner and I go to the park or the swimming pool or the splash pad or the movies or whatever. And I play with my kids and get super solid, intentional phone-free time while somebody comes and cleans my house every other week. And it is the greatest thing that ever happened to my business, my children, and my house, because my house is actually clean now. And I'm not sitting here while I'm doing my power hour thinking, you know what, I know I should be doing my power hour, but my husband also asked if I could like clean the toilet because there's like mold growing in there. Like, I don't have to think about it. Somebody else is taking care of it for me. And it releases that stress. I hired an assistant for parts of my power hour that I struggle with, or things that are very copy paste and monotonous. She sends my happy birthday messages. She makes my leaderboards. She does things that are super simple for somebody to do. And that's a fairly recent thing. I built a lot of what I did without an assistant, and she still only works a handful of hours a week. But I delegated stuff that honestly, I don't have to do. Somebody else could do it and it would help me, so that when I'm working, I can be focused and intentional, like my affirmation says, and then I can get out and I can go back to being a mom. I turned off my Messenger notifications. When someone messages me on Messenger, my phone does not light up and tell me. And my phone doesn't get the little number on Messenger telling me that I have a notification. I have to choose to open Messenger to see that I have messages. Same thing with Instagram. What? Yep, that's fine. She knows when I'm on calls that she could like literally ask if she can play with knives. Okay, not really. And that I would say yes, because I'm like, nope, let me just finish my call. So she's asking to watch all these things on Netflix. She knows I don't want her to watch. So I turn off my notifications so my phone does not light up and tell me, so that I can, when I'm not working, I'm not working. I'm present and I'm with my kids, or I'm with my husband, or I'm doing my power, or not my power, my workout, or I'm grocery shopping, or I'm getting ready and doing PD, whatever. I am not thinking, shoot, I walked away from my phone for 10 minutes and look, this thread blew up and I have 10 billion messages. My notifications are off. And when I'm ready to sit down and work, I go look at them. But when I'm not working, I don't look at them and I don't care what's happening in my Messenger. Because this is something that I heard in my personal development the other day. We are network marketers, not emergency room physicians. Nobody is going to die if we don't reply back to a message within like 30 seconds. And I have a limiting belief that if I don't reply back soon enough, they're going to go buy it from somebody else, or they're going to go buy it from the website and it's going to be wrong. And I'm going to have to deal with customer service and I'm going to have to fix everything. So I made an affirmation that says, I am worth waiting for. People who want me will wait for me, and they will respect the fact that I put my kids above my business. And if they don't respect that, I don't want them as a client anyway. So that's the power of affirmations, is when you find a limiting belief and you're like, wait, but I can't do that because da-da-da-da, you make an affirmation. So I just went back to 2. And then I really make sure this kind of ties into Messenger. I unplug every day. I have very set hours that I work on my business. And when I'm not working on my business, I'm not working on my business. It's very important to me that my kids do not grow up remembering mom's phone was always in her hand. Melanie Mitro talked about that. She has a freaking amazing training. She has done it the last 3 years worth of New Leader Conference. It is on YouTube about time management. It's amazing. You just type in like Melanie Mitro, NLC, it will come up. But she talks about how like your kids will remember if your phone is always in your hand and you are always saying, hold on, hold on, hold on. So rather than me replying to notifications as they come in and watching my inbox as they come in, I have certain blocks of time that I go through and I blitz through my notifications, through my messages, that I blitz and send my invites, that I blitz and do my follow-ups, that I blitz and do everything. And then I put my phone down and I let my inbox fill back up while I'm playing with my kids. And I come back and I blitz through it again. And then I unplug for the night and I wake up the next day and I check it again. Why are we being a Hulk? Did you turn the internet off? Okay, I think that was everything I had anyway. So that was really good timing that she came in freaking out when she did. So I went so long. Oh my gosh.
Ashley, that was amazing. Oh my gosh. You don't understand. Like our message box is filling up going, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I love this. Best call ever. Like you seriously brought it to this call and I can't thank you enough. Like this was honestly one of the best calls I've ever listened to. And I've listened to like thousands of calls. So thank you so, so much. Ashley and I both work with Josh together. So that's where I get to see her every Thursday. And yes, he is awesome. And he definitely will knock down your limiting beliefs when you bring them to the call on Thursday. So anyways, thank you so, 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 so much. You were amazing. Like seriously, we're voting you to like speak at the NLC or like morning national wake up call or something. So if that's on your bucket list, we're going to vote you in for that. But thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You were amazing. I think half the people cried on the call. Half the people were like clapping and cheering. And anyway, so it was awesome. So thank you so much again for taking so much time. And I'll send you the recording too, Ashley, if you want to send it to anybody. But thanks again, everybody, for hopping on. And we will see you soon. Thank you, guys.